Hello and welcome to Goose Live. I'm your host, Charlie Stivers. And today's guest, I'm super excited. They are helping us embrace the digital economy. And you know how social media platforms make billions off of creators, and maybe 1% of the creators are actually making any money or barely anything at all. But what if there's a platform where both their creators and their audiences actually got paid for engaging? And that's exactly what Social Goats is doing. And our guest today is Mike Popovich, and he's one of the co-founders. And I'm excited to have you on and talk about Social Goats, Mike.
Thanks, my friend. Welcome. Charlie and I have been friends for a lot of years, and yeah, it's pretty exciting what we're putting together. And what you've done as well is pretty impressive. So excited to be on the pod.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've focused on cryptocurrency, but crypto blockchain is just one aspect of this digital economy. Social media is everywhere, right? And there's a lot of unhappy people there. There's a lot of noise, and you guys are disrupting this space. So we're excited to share the story and what you guys are up to. So why don't you just start off by sharing a little bit about a little bit of your background, and
Yes.
then the problem that Social Goats is solving.
Yeah. So as my wife and I have been pretty large in the direct sales affiliate market space for a long time, and one of the top in the world. And another friend of ours, another co-founder, Chris Miller, in Colorado as well. He's a social media expert. And so his company actually helps people build their subscriber bases, and they manage about 100 million YouTube subscribers alone. And so not the biggest, but pretty big. And as you said in your intro, everybody's trying to figure out, how do I monetize this? The algorithm keeps changing. We get paid so little per view, per click. We can have millions and millions of views and still get paid peanuts. And so we just figured out, why don't we just reverse that? Why don't we start a company that, as you said, is the content creators get paid for what they're worth. It's residual income. They get paid per subscriber. So it's kind of a combination of super fans, a Patreon account where for about $1 a day, they can get all this private content. Some of the top leaders in the world, like yourself, in the field you're in. For instance, I just got invited to David Copperfield's mansion this Friday because they have a bunch of influencers that they're interested in, and because of the numbers. And so what's really great is the content creators get paid probably 10x off of any other platform they've seen. But even more importantly, what they really get excited about is you guys, all of us. I'm not a huge content creator, but I would love to get paid a residual income sharing these people who are the best in the world at what they do. So that's really it, is for a nominal fee, they're getting 10x because it's designed to pay the content creators and the audience. So we're in pre-launch right now. People can enroll for free. I know you're going to share your link there. And probably 45 days, we'll actually start with all the content creators, some of these big names that you can participate with and get some of the greatest tier 1 content creators on the planet.
Yeah, I think you guys are going to have some massive growth here because it's so simple, and that's what really drew me in as a media, I guess, company, but also a creator, and we're multimedia. So I think it ties into a lot of areas where we can just tap into another network as well, is what I see.
Yeah.
And that's where there's more value as a media company, where you can infiltrate other networks. You know how they say your net worth is determined by your networks.
Yeah.
And that's what I can see as a huge growth potential, because it is so disruptive of a model that you're trying to build.
Yeah, it's and one thing to clarify, I think, with people, we're not asking them to get off any other platform, like you said. It's just another platform to cross-pollinate, get more eyeballs from different places. So they can take a lot of their same content, put it over here. They're just going to get paid for what they're worth, and their audience gets paid as well
now. So maybe dig in a little bit on who you think are like the perfect, I guess, audience for you, the perfect users.
Yeah.
Because you do have some different aspects of your model.
Yeah, I think for the perfect user to just be a member, for about $1 a day, you're going to get some of the top teachers, masterclass performers, some of the people that already mentor Fortune 500, Fortune 50 CEOs, all for about $1 a day on here. So anybody, like I'm having my kids kind of going, hey guys, you need to become a member of this, because the teachers on there, the information you can glean from these guys who are the best in the world at what they do is worth that $1 a day. So I think everybody should be a member. I really do. You're going to get what normally costs tens of thousands of dollars. How to use AI, how to maximize your current business, how to a lot of mindfulness, creative visualization from some of the top leaders on the planet. And then I think people that then they realize, like, wait a minute, these are some of the top people on the planet. You mean I can get paid for sharing that? I don't have to be an influencer. I don't even know what a content creator is, but I know there's a lot of money to be made on social media. That's not real hard to figure out. And so us as a community, as people who share it, they can get a really nice residual income. Then the last part is, people like yourself, people that already do have a big audience. I can just tell you, everybody I've shown this to that already has a big audience, they're trying to monetize. How do I increase my reach with your company, for instance? Like I said, we can 10x their income on about 1% of their current subscriber base. So I think it's really a platform for almost anybody. And yeah, that's I really believe that is everybody can benefit. And one of the things I told you is I was reading the Map of Consciousness when my partner Chris Miller was telling me the numbers in social media and some of the struggles some of these guys have. Just thinking, like, how can we make this so simple for the average guy? Because they know they want to participate in social media, or probably they would like to know, but I'm not a techie. I don't know what to do. And I was reading that Map of Consciousness, and it said, if you have an attitude of service that helps other people achieve their goal, you have universal power and universal appeal. And I don't know, bro. It's sprung up, and Chris and I were like, that's it. We're going to create a platform for everybody. That if our goal is to help everybody monetize this new gold rush in social media, we have universal power and universal appeal. That's really where it came from. So we're trying to make it as simple as we possibly can to make money on the internet for everybody.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that simplicity of your comp plan, which is more just a simple affiliate revenue share model. And I think you're just doing 2 tiers. So
Yeah.
we're getting rid of the multi-level stuff, which is wonderful. Can you share a little bit of details there?
Yeah, sure. And you hit it on the head. It's a simple affiliate plan, and people that aren't familiar with that, everybody's has an affiliate plan. Walmart, Instagram, Facebook, everybody.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon, everybody. It's a simple way they're going, we realize the most powerful marketers on the planet are people that already use our stuff. So we're going to give them a little reward for sharing our business, our content, our platform. So basically what happens is, I don't even know the numbers. You might even know on YouTube what they get paid for 1,000 views. It's pretty tiny. And so here, each subscriber, if they become a member, you get $5 a month for each tier 1 affiliate. And if they share it with somebody, you get $5 a month who they share it with. And we specifically, as you said, made it an affiliate plan versus a multi-level. Not that multi-level is bad. It's still one of the most powerful. How does something go viral on the internet? If you really want to look at it, it's multi-level. People share, people share, but it does have a stigma, and everybody in their mother is doing an affiliate plan. So it's a really easy affiliate plan. And then what's pretty cool is there's a 20% influencer bonus, basically. And all that means is you're going to come across people that do really well. Well, you should get rewarded for that. So you're going to get it. Let's say somebody, an affiliate that you bring in makes $10,000 that month. You get a 20% bonus of each of your personal affiliates' income. So if you shared it with somebody and they really started connecting quite a few people and they made $10,000, you're going to get an extra $2,000 that month from that personal affiliate. So that's how simple it is. It's just 2 tiers with an influencer bonus on it. If you bring in influencers, we want to reward you for that, an extra 20%.
Love that. Nice and simple.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to share with our audience is it's the wrong one. Let's go to this one. Okay, all of a sudden it doesn't want to share it. I'm trying to share the white paper. Let's
Oh,
go back to us, which I think is really good.
yeah.
That's bizarre. It's not
Are
showing
you
at
talking
the
about the World
moment.
Economic Forum one?
Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, there it
Um,
is.
it's fascinating, and I knew bits and pieces of this, but basically they're saying that 40% of current skill sets are going to be obsolete by 2030,
Yeah.
and one of those is AI, right? But
Yep.
it's also the creator economy, the digital economy, and so you're also providing tremendous value in what you're offering to the members.
Yep.
So let's touch on that first, and then maybe we'll get into the rest of the platform.
Yeah, it's interesting because the World Economic Forum put out this um, basically forecasting what you said, Charlie, what the future workforce is going to look like. Now, I'm a big AI proponent. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna take away all these different things." I go, "Yeah, but it's also the gold rush. Is if you can participate in some of these things, it's going to create jobs that we don't even know of yet. Like industries are going to spring out. Like for instance, this is what I find fascinating. You got young kids that have millions of people gaming, where they play games all day, as you know, and they make millions of dollars. Well, that didn't exist when I was in high school. If I didn't have my guidance counselor going, "Hey, Charlie, you know what's cool? What's your favorite game?" I like back then it would be like Galactica, or like
Right.
right, like you're going or Donkey
Galaga.
Kong. Yeah, Galaga, sorry,
Yeah.
or Donkey Kong, right? It's like, wait a minute, I can play games all day and make millions of dollars. Sign me up. So there's going to be industries
Mhm.
created that we can't even see yet, but um, we're just trying to make it the easiest way possible. If you're not a techie, you can still participate by using a platform like Social Goats, for instance, where all these other people are the best in the world at what they do. We can participate in that as a collective. That's kind of really the whole idea of what we're doing with Social Goats.
Yeah, and then you're going to have some specific content or e-learning type of
Yeah,
modules or courses as well.
yeah. So if people want to be a content creator, if they want to really increase their subscriber bases, etc., courses that typically, Chris's firm, if you were a brand, for instance, that came in and said, "Hey, I need to get my Instagram account up to so many hundreds of $1,000s of followers," they would charge you anywhere from $8,000 to $20,000 a month because they're good at what they do. So
Yep.
that kind of content, that e-learning, if that's what you're interested in, will be on this platform for roughly $1 a day, guys. So we're going to have all that: how to use AI, how to master your analytics if you're interested in that. What's funny is, as a founder, I'm not actually interested in that myself. I'm interested in how do we create the greatest platform so somebody like Charlie can really build his subscriber base because he's got something valuable to share. So yeah, all those courses will be on there. A lot of documentaries, different things like that, like how these guys made it in different industries. Because as you know, that iron sharpens iron. When you get around, you just catch their mentality, you catch their energy, and you go, "Oh my gosh, I think I could do that." When you hear other people, it's inspiring to you. So you're going to see some of the top entertainers, top athletes, top businesses, top teachers in their profession. All that content's going to be on there.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about the platform itself as far as like the media side of things? Uh, is there any kind of like, do you have a preview yet that people can check out, or can you kind of paint that picture for us? Is it a combination of YouTube and Facebook type of thing, or?
Yeah. So right now we just pre-launched, so we're just building the platform out where people can get an affiliate link for free. So you're not going to see a lot of the content. You can kind of see if you go onto your affiliate link, Charlie, you'll see where the content will be. So it'll be a lot like YouTube school games, if you're familiar with school.
Yeah.
Where you'll have a certain person who's take crypto, for instance, say I'm an expert in crypto. Here's my top 10 podcasts or teachings there. So it'll kind of look like that on phase one, where we're highly curated, different teachers in different subjects, different master classes, different podcasts that you can log into. Phase two, which is pretty close behind it, will be more like you're describing, where the average person could start uploading some of their content like Instagram or YouTube. And we have to do it like that in the beginning because it's going to grow so fast that as you know, you can't grow too fast. You have to scale correctly so people have a great user experience. So that's kind of the vision of where we're going. And you're going to see that probably roll out in about 45 days. But now you can enroll for free and start getting the feel of what's happening. We do weekly meetings on Zoom that people can tune into. You know, if you know big influencers, they can reach out to me, Mike at socialgoats.com, and I can kind of share with them what's happening, and we'll make sure that you get the credit for that, where that affiliate is tied to you.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the model a little bit. Obviously, all of these social media sites are free, so therefore we're the product, right? Yep. So they're selling our data, our information, click, whatever. Yeah. Can you maybe touch on your business model? And I know you plan on having some brand partners, but you're not necessarily selling any data.
Yes.
Let's dig into that.
Yeah. So as you said, we're the product on all these other. They are selling our data. They're selling our eyeballs, right? So somebody's making billions off this, right? They're not giving, like the Kelsey brothers, had two. Don't quote me on the numbers exactly, but about 2.5 million subs across their different platforms. They just got $100 million podcast deal, guys. These companies aren't throwing $100 million around just because. They know that those eyeballs are very valuable, right? So here it is a paid model where we pay a membership and we get all this private content. So if you go look at Patreon, for instance, or School Games, is these people are the best in the world. They're going, we want to generate revenue from the memberships that we all participate in, versus having to depend on ad deals, et cetera, in the beginning, where the company keeps all that money. So like my kids love obviously like Joe Rogan or Sean Ryan or any of these guys who are huge. They all have Patreon accounts. They're going, hey, for $15 a month, for $20 a month, you can get some of my private content over here. Well, for about $1 a day, you can get all this private content for all of us, and then we share that membership revenue with everybody every month. So it's a private page, more like a Patreon School Game, and you're getting content that would cost you tens of thousands of dollars other places for about $1 a day.
Right. And then do you foresee maybe in phase 3, like having some like analytics or?
Yeah. You mean for the content creators?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the membership alone, what I've shown people is 10x, right? For 1% of their current subscribers, they'll make about 10 times what they're making on these other platforms. That opens their eyes. And I think what you're referring to is, let's just take that Kelsey brother example again. Okay. The average person doesn't have 2.5 million subscribers. They do because they're famous, right? So they get this $100 million deal. But brands have already approached us and going, hey, you can just be normal people like myself, and collectively we can go get 2.5 million subscribers pretty fast. They still give us the $100 million brand deal. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They're interested in eyeballs, period. So if we have a couple million subscribers pretty quickly, we're going to get those brand deals. And basically the analytics, what you're talking about is we'll have analytics on your videos where 2% of all the videos looked at. So you get X. Also, the size of the number of affiliates that you've brought into the company, it's easy to track. So if you have 2% of all the affiliates, for instance, on Social Goats, when those brand deals come in, you're going to get your pro rata share of that. So the membership alone is 10 times what people make. Now you start adding the brand deals, everything else that's going to be laid on top of it. I think I think a year from now, we're probably going to be one of the most talked about things that can incorporate everything, like crypto, your podcast, your company. We don't really care who it is, as long as they've got something of value to offer the community. Why wouldn't we help you monetize that, or anybody monetize what they're doing?
Yeah, and in the white paper, it did catch my eye, the Web3 buzzword,
Yeah.
which means blockchain crypto.
Yep.
And I can see a lot of use cases with that, but that's maybe phase 4. Even it's not necessary, but
Yeah,
it may add value.
yeah, for sure. I think we'll evolve into all of that. What I love about this is, you and I are old enough to remember what MySpace was, right? My kids have no idea what it is, right? So, like MySpace, what the hell is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what's cool here is we're the eyeballs. We can adapt to any platform that really comes around, because we're not we're not MySpace, we're not Facebook, we're not YouTube, we're not Instagram. In fact, we hope those platforms increase as we increase, because people are they're gonna find your if they're interested in crypto, they're gonna come in for, hey, I want a master class on leadership skills in my current job. They tie into somebody on Social Goats to go, oh, here's this thing on crypto over here, I'm really interested. So we know that your audience is going to increase, everybody's audience is going to increase, which is the whole goal. So yeah, we can kind of pivot and go wherever the market's taking us in phase 4, et cetera, and we'll get there for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the algorithm goes for like searching, like, will you have some of the back end stuff where like this one's trending or this one's most popular?
Yeah,
Things
for
like
sure.
that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it's and it's kind of interesting, as when you're scaling a company, if you go look at the history of YouTube, when they started, they're not anything what they are today. I think they had like 40 videos at the time going, how do we get this viral? How do we? So and a lot of them, if you go watch, whether it's Apple or anything, they're like, listen, you can wait until you're perfect, but why don't you scale and figure out the business as you go? And so that's what we're doing. And the cool part is we can take the average person on a ride with us. We're documenting a lot of this actually with podcasts and different things. Hey, you're part of a $1 billion startup. And there's bumps and bruises along the way, but it's pretty, the faster we bring in subscribers, the faster we scale and get all the cool bells and whistles.
Yeah. Do you kind of foresee like maybe, within Social Goats, like, your top 10 influencers or creators and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah,
And
maybe some like gamification or the fun
100%.
aspects.
Yeah. So here's some fun ideas that we're throwing around. It'd be interesting to get your take. So let's say Charlie comes on with his company, right? So because all of us have interest in this, is we can go, hey, Charlie, this new company we just brought on, go share the snot out of these videos of his, so we can break the algorithm on the other platforms, right? And then it's got your link in there, and they're like, what is this Social Goats thing, right? But yeah, we can do all that because we really, technically, you're not an owner of the company. That there's SEC and FTC rules in there. That would be a nightmare. But you're treated like an owner as far as the profit. You know exactly how much of this profit you're going to get of the whole company. So we have incentive when a new brand comes on, a new partner comes on, a new podcast comes on, to just share the snot out of it and break that algorithm, which will help on all their other platforms.
Yeah. So with AI, and we talked about this briefly, do you have some components that you're going to weave into this, maybe on the back end, even part of the user experience?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
I know that's kind of hard to paint that picture, but
it's Chris being a social media expert, we're already doing that. In fact, like even how the site's designed, we're already using AI, right? Like, hey, this is what we want to do. And like the first rendition, we're asking the software developers, how did you get this exactly? What we're thinking. They're like, oh, we just ran your podcast through AI. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so, yeah, there's really cool tools, and as you know, it's making it easier and easier for the average person to use AI and going, God, this is pretty wild, right? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to see a lot of really cool bells and whistles, and what I don't want to scare people with that, because people can be as least techy as they want in this, or geek out with all the tech.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, that is the beauty behind it. I mean, you can, just like anything, go down all the rabbit holes you want and dig into it more and more. Um,
In fact, I was just on right before. That's why I said I had that. Sorry, I'm a little late, but I was on this podcast, or not a podcast. I was talking to this guy who has a big podcast on iHeart, uh, and he's doing a big podcast for senior citizens. And he goes, Mike, do you realize that 13,000 people, I think is the number he used, turn 65 every day? And he goes, that is
I
a
was a
huge
finance
market.
guy.
Yeah, he's a huge market. So something like crypto, or you're like, man, I'd like to do this. We want to make it super simple, where, as you know too, sometimes you're going to get the full spectrum, but sometimes if they're senior citizens, they're like, what's a URL, right?
Yep.
So we have to make it fifth grade simple for everybody. Like, and you said, is you can go down as many rabbit holes as you want and be as creative and geeky as you want, but we're going to keep it on a fifth grade level, so everybody can go, oh, I think I could do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dig into a little bit of like you being founder.
Yeah.
Maybe take us a little bit on the journey, and like what kind of challenges are you running into, and how did that help you decide, like, hey, we're keeping it this simple?
Yeah. As you know, my Barb and I think our whole, anybody that's ever been around us, they're going, what I love about it is you just refine it down to the simplest thing to keep it simple. And that'll always be the most powerful, right? The more people that can duplicate that, it'll always be the best. And so, my background in direct sales, affiliate marketing type things, is I saw a lot of people just make it complex. And, really where Barb and I had our first success is, they sold an energy drink, and they had all these complex comp plans. And if you do this, and then you'll make this, and off this bonus, you'll make all this. Well, I kind of had a mentor. Just imagine if this is an energy drink, right? It's my cheap bottle of water from Safeway. So I just drink whatever's there, right? So this guy comes to me, and this is right when Red Bull was really starting to hit, and they disrupted the market. Everybody was used to drinking a Coke or for 45 cents, 50 cents at the time, I think. And all of a sudden, this 8-ounce can comes out. They're selling it for $2. Well, that's a mind shift, right? I went from buying a Coke for 45 cents, that's 12 ounces. Now I'm buying something for 8 ounces, and it's 5 times as much. But this influencer, he goes like this, Mike, keep it this simple. And he goes, imagine this is an energy drink. He goes, could you find me 10 guys that drink energy drinks if I paid you $100,000? I thought that's the simplest thing I've ever heard.
Yep.
And because I knew I could do that. They're like, well, we drink Red Bull. I know you drink Red Bull, but this company will pay you as an affiliate to promote their drink. Does that interest you? And if you shared it with 10, who shared it with 10, who shared it with 10, that's how everything's go viral, right? You'll make $100,000. And that's really where we made our first success, is that simple. So we've always kept it that simple. Now, if you've been around affiliate marketing and things like that, here's the thing that we didn't want to do, which is Barb and I had kind of said, you know what, we're done. And unless we know what the market wants, we know what everybody who's ever been a part of a sales or affiliate plan looking for. They want consistency. They don't want the deal changed on all the time, and they want it simple. So we just said, we're never going to do anything again unless we're either the founders or we know the founders well enough where we can have direct input for what we want it to look like. Now, to your point, this is kind of interesting. So when we were interviewing the software developers who've done some really big companies, multi-billion-dollar companies. This sounds so weird to me, but they said, okay, how much do you guys as the co-founders want to make? And I was like, no, we want to flip that on its head. We want to figure out how much can we possibly pay out so other people make the most money. Remember, I was talking about David Hawkins, where it said, if you've had an attitude or service that helps others achieve their goal, then your business has universal power and universal appeal. So we said, we want to push as much of the money out to the content creators and all the followers as we can, because we know we'll be okay. And Charlie, as many companies these guys have developed their software for and back end offices, et cetera, they go, we've never heard that. That kind of stunned me, because I thought, this is so simple, right? Like, take care of your customer, and as a business, you'll be okay. So that's really the vision of it. There's bumps and bruises along the way of software development, things like that. But we just did our first week of pre-launch, and I've been through a few of these, and it was remarkably smooth. And I think because it is pretty simple what we're trying to do, it's not real complex. It's not a binary or any of these crazy things where you gotta run it through AI just to figure out how the hell it works, right? This is simple. You share it with somebody who share it with somebody, you get paid, you get a 20% bump, and then you share in all the brand deals of the whole company.
Yeah. So, I mean, the simplicity of it is it's an incentive driven platform.
Yeah.
Where else do you see like community really getting involved with, the whole ESG acronym, so governance is the G in that. Like, will you allow some like surveys or voting on some things here and there with the community?
Yeah, I think that's probably, phase 2 and 3, right? Is phase 1, we have to get up and running and create revenue and start incentivizing people, start paying people with their membership programs, et cetera. But yeah, I think that's, one of the things our goal is going to be, this isn't necessarily where you're looking to go, but we don't want to be, we don't want to take sides. I want it to be, the platform itself will be apolitical, areligious, meaning we're not going to pick sides. And I think the great thing, one of the things I read a long time ago was when Michael Jordan was kind of interviewing and mentoring Tiger Woods, he said, hey, Tiger, let me give you some advice. Jordan's a multi-billion-dollar brand, like the world. You can go anywhere in the world and see people wearing Jordans or Jumpman. Their clothing.
The logo.
Yeah, exactly right. And he goes, hey, never get political, never get religious, because as a business, you're going to irritate 50% of your customers on which side you are. So that'll be one thing, is it's going to be pretty content safe, so almost anybody can come and apolitical, areligious. It doesn't mean we'll take away somebody's experience. If they go, hey, this is my experience with a certain religion, this is my story, of course they can share that. We're not going to tell them they can't say whatever, but as a company, we're not going to promote one religion, one political party. It's just, that's not what we're after. We want to help everybody, no matter which side of the aisle you're on, right?
So you're going to be careful of censorship, so to speak.
Yeah. You're as you know, as all these companies, they're being drugged before Congress, and so it's always this fine line of we don't want to pick a side, and that's why all these guys are kind of getting drugged before Congress, because they're going, hey, we think that your content is geared in promoting one side of this, and I don't ever want to do that. If you have valuable content that can help all humanity, we want you.
Mm-hmm. So you're a visionary. Have you really kind of envisioned beyond the next 12, 24 months, like even 5-10 year type of vision?
Yeah, it's a little difficult to do because everything's going to change in that amount of time. It really is. So, the global vision, kind of what we're doing, some of the other things that I think will attract people and participate in is, I'm a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work and some of the things he's doing with global meditations and things like that, where they've actually proven
Mm.
that it takes a very small number of people. Let's just say peace in the Middle East, for instance, right? I think almost anybody on the planet would be interested in that. If not, I would question, why wouldn't you want peace in the why? That's pretty simple concept for me. Is it would be best if people aren't killing each other in a war. Like that's pretty simple to me. And they've proven that when a small number of people, they can actually do it scientifically, really feel peace in their own heart, and they start projecting that into certain places of the world. The whole quantum aspect of this is I've found fascinating for my whole life. I'm a techie engineer, understand some of the quantum physics. Is we're going to have, if people that want to participate, like weekly meditations, etc., not only for yourself, but also for global peace. Or if there's a hot spot in the world where we can actually come together as part of this platform and walk through some of these guided meditations. And they've actually shown when people do it, they can actually take this time frame where wars cease, terrorism ceases, traffic accidents go down, and the economy increases real time. They have data as people are doing this. So we, as a platform, we're going, we don't know what this is going to look like, because I don't think anybody knows what this is going to look like 5 years from now. But what if our goal is to reach 1 billion subscribers to raise the consciousness of all humanity? That's the overreaching 5-year goal.
Yeah, I love that, where it's more community focused rather than the platform itself. And kind of the bits and pieces that I was asking about is where this can be somewhat community driven.
Yeah,
and
I think it's heavy community influence, where you're going to find different pockets of people doing things that, man, I love that these guys are doing this over there. Fantastic, go do it, right?
Yeah, because you have 1 billion users, you got a pretty good sample size there.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but when you sit around and you think, you're like, we don't even know what it's going to look like. But I think how the platform's built is we're not dependent on a changing algorithm, right? That's where we can go. If this is hot 5 years from now, we can pivot and bring in that kind of content and community. That's what I love about it. So, yeah.
One of the solutions I think you're providing is you're really leveling the playing field between a smaller or emerging creator versus someone who's got, a large audience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's and I think like social media and AI has really helped with that, where the average person who doesn't know all the hooks and everything on how to make a video go viral on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. Pretty simple here, right? You can start creating some content if you want, and you're going to be all of a sudden introduced to millions of eyeballs that are already in social goats. So yeah, you'll be able to, people can monetize this faster than any other platform, I think is what you're getting at. They don't need big numbers they don't need millions of subs and millions of views. They can create that same amount of income on several thousand, which is not that hard, as you know, for a person to get to a couple thousand. I think the numbers were, if you had about 1,000 subs who shared it with 5, I think that's like, I can tell you real quick. I'll look it up. You okay with that? I'll just tell you real time.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what we're doing with people is, let's say, if they had 1,000 subs and people are like, how do you do that? Well, what if 10 shared it with 10, shared it with 10? You've got it, right? That's how videos go viral. And if those shared it with 5 ever, not 5 a month, not 5 new reels, 5 people that go, I love this platform. That's 60,000 a month. Yeah. As you know, because social media, you got to be a massive giant on these other platforms to make that kind of money.
You could definitely reinvest in your video audio equipment and even create a whole studio if you wanted to.
Exactly right. Yeah. So it's pretty exciting when people, as you said, you can level the playing field. They need a fraction of the numbers here to make big influencer money on the other platforms.
Mhm. And the other big bonus is we're early, and that matters in crypto, business,
Yep.
affiliate sales, direct marketing, whatever you want to call it. So, we're giving you some alpha here at Goose TV, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And people that because you are an influencer and you've built pretty large subscriber bases, is that early adopter is pretty key, because a lot of the same players in your own field, right?
Mhm.
So usually, like somebody who's doing I'm just going to throw something out there. Like, let's say they're doing master classes in yoga, for instance, just as an example, right? They know the other. It's huge. Yeah, we've got some great. In fact, one of the content providers won the World Peace Award last year. Is coming on and sharing his yoga classes.
Oh.
That's pretty cool, right? So, but he knows everybody in that. He knows like the top 10 in that field. Well, if he's an early adopter, guess what? All those other people can become affiliates of his. So now he's not competing with them. He's actually working with them, which is the whole goal again of the company. Is like, I don't want to compete with Charlie. My goal is to help Charlie monetize what he's already got. If our goal is to help other people achieve their goal, we have universal power and universal appeal. So now they're no longer competitors. If he's got one of the top yoga master classes out there, he can go to the other yoga classes and go, I found a platform, guys, that pays us for what we're worth. And your followers can really help this go viral and create residual income themselves. So it really becomes more, as you said, community, not competition. These competition, there's always pushback. If our goal is to help everybody, it's universal appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. What is one thing you wish more people understood about the creator economy and the future of work? Like, again, asking you to put on your visionary glasses here.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. When you understand creator economy, you do the work once and you're getting paid for thousands and thousands and thousands of views and sharing, etc.
The evergreen.
Yeah, right. It's that's where people, they call it residual income, etc. I think that's the biggest thing, is the model I grew up with. My mother was a school teacher, so school was very important to us, and so it was emphasized, right? So we did very well in school, and I went to the Air Force Academy out here, and then I became an engineer. Well, I only got paid for the work I put in as an engineer. I could not multiply myself. So the greatest thing about the creator economy, guys, is that content that you did the work for once, or you bring on one influencer to Social Goats once, multiplies you and it pays you while you're sleeping now. It really is real. People talk about mailbox money. Oh, that would be nice. We've shown the average person how to make mailbox money in the creator economy, versus I got to go generate it every day. Next day, I got to do the same thing. I'm only getting paid for my efforts. Creator economy lets you get paid for, in this case, some of the greatest content creators on the planet. You're now in business with them.
Yeah, and that kind of is a good point too, because if you're already being compensated and maybe there's a special guest that has a fee, now you can afford that.
Yes.
Or, you don't have an agenda, so to speak, because you're already getting paid. So you're just serving others. So I think there's a lot of win-win potentials here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of fun, because as we're sitting around with you and everything else, because we're all creative and entrepreneurs, we're like, oh my gosh, what about this? And so it just keeps expanding the things we can do, right? Yeah, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth the message alone, guys, is to get around, rub elbows with some of the top entrepreneurs on the planet.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to catch their mindset, and you're going to realize they're just like you. They're no different.
Mm-hmm.
They just got around other people who just thought a little bit outside the box.
Absolutely. If you could give one piece of advice to creators, entrepreneurs navigating the digital economy, what would that be?
This is probably a little different than what you were expecting, but I would tell you, your imagination is probably one of the most powerful things on the planet. I think it is the most powerful thing on the planet,
Mm.
is to kind of work backwards, is to go, what would I like my life to be 5 years from now?
Mm.
Not worrying about how you're going to get there. I don't know if I have the right skills. I don't know if I have the right education. I don't know if I'm the right color. I don't know if I'm the right sex. Leave all that stuff out. Just go, if I could take out a magic wand, I would recommend you get personally, I would recommend you would get I just get these cheap annual notebooks from Walmart or whatever. I think they're $10. And I would get into a habit of every morning, if I could have a magic wand, what would my, I think 3 areas, I call it the big 3, some of the content I'm creating is, what would my relationships look like? How do I have loving relationships? What does my financial situation look like? What would the ideal thing be? How much money would I love to be making a month, coming in every month effortlessly? And then the third one is your health, mind, and body. So if you could go 5 years from now, this is what I want my life to look like. And allow yourself to imagine yourself as if you already have it until it brings up an emotion. That's the number one thing I would tell people to do. It's if you've never done it, go watch Steve Jobs' graduation address to Stanford. It's all over YouTube. As you know, he dropped out of school, but he also created Apple. And he tells them in there, he goes, follow your heart. Somehow it knows where you're already going to end up. Guys, your heart and your imagination knows how you're wired. It knows what you would love to have 5 years from now. And if you start putting it to paper and just allow yourself to imagine it, you'll be shocked when you look back 5 years from now, how many of those things you checked off.
Mm. And, even the Apple copy included a lot of imagination buzzwords. It's escaping me at the moment, but there was something specific.
Yeah, that's what your imagination is the most powerful thing on the planet, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It creates.
I was actually hoping.
Something. No, I was going to say, when you imagine something, people don't realize you're taking the creative energy of creation and shaping it into the physical realm. You're literally doing that when you imagine.
Mm. Yeah. And that's, I was hoping you would go here. So this was actually a really perfect segue. And you can take that as business principles, life principles, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you for that. I think that's a ton of value too. Your heart did lead you down into a Freedom Ministries, right?
Yeah.
Let's close on the show with talking about this other part of your journey that people aren't aware of, and may explain more of what you just shared.
Yeah, it's really and like I said, I don't want this to be a religious context. My whole idea was, I grew up in a household where there were 2 different religions. My father was one and my mother was one, and I've always struggled with that. It's like, if I grew up in a Muslim home, there would be a very high chance I'd be Muslim. How can that be wrong, right? So I went down that road of going, what's this Bible all about? What are these Vedas all about? What are all these spiritual teachings that have been around forever? And if you really dig into it, at the end of the day, I went into the original Greek and Hebrew hieroglyphics, guys, before they were even written languages. And then it all started to make sense. And really what I try to do is go, universal truths are universal, meaning I don't care what color, sex, religion, etc. If you do certain things, it works for everybody in the entire world. That's really where my ministry was wanting to lead people, is you don't have to be this religion or that religion. There's divinity in all humanity. There's something that's keeping you alive. Everybody on the planet, when we go to sleep tonight, I'm pretty sure it's not this ego man called Mike Popovich that's keeping my lungs breathing and my heart. There's a source of creation that's in every human being, or they couldn't be alive. And also, if I take a tulip bulb, for instance, how in the world does that tulip bulb know how to make beautiful green stalks and green stems and these beautiful flowers unless there's the divinity already in that seed. So that's really what I wanted to do, is teach people the divinity. I don't care who you are. You're perfectly loved. You're born in perfection. You're going to live through perfection, and we're going to return to perfection. Is really just showing people, do you realize how powerful you really are? And you have this creative ability of, whether you call it God, the universe, Christ consciousness, I don't care what you call it. They're all trying to describe the same thing. This creative ability of God in all humanity.
Yeah, beautiful. And so part of the journey between you and I saw you really have like a mastermind, but it started with Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And so can you maybe kind of take us through a little bit of that journey, Napoleon Hill and then Bob Proctor and
Yeah. Well, I found, as you know, they're all sharing principles that work for everybody, what I'm sharing. And so everything that worked in our life, like here's a, for instance, like our first company, it wasn't how much work we put in. It wasn't all of that. We were trying to do all of these things, get it right, get the right information, etc. Yet all these other teachers are going, no. You need two things. You need to be able to dream about what life could look like. That's the imagination, the mind, right? And you have to have the heart with it, the emotion. What would it feel like if you already had it? And as you start looking at all these different teachers, you're going, that's all they're doing. So that was really kind of the journey. We were really working hard, etc. In one of the first platforms, and then we were like, wait a minute. Whether you call it prayer, meditation, manifestation, I don't really care. It's all the buzzwords, right? But here's what we did, Charlie, is we're like, wait a minute. If we're truly all connected, this is why I love Dr. Dispenza's work too, because they're doing remote healings and things where we'll share a lot of this, where if somebody, I don't care where they are in the world, where a handful of us can raise the energy of that person and allow their body down to the DNA level start to heal. That fascinated me. It's the same thing as Think and Grow Rich. He was just doing it in a financial context, right? We have immense power by what we think and what we feel. And it actually is creative. So when I wanted to really create, I was like, wait a minute. Barb found a single cup of coffee, a picture in a magazine. I know some of your people don't even know what a magazine is hardly anymore, because we're old enough to know what a magazine is. The only place they sell them is the airport now, I think, right? But she found this single cup of coffee, and it said, imagine a stress-free day. And it was a cup of coffee with steam rising out of it. And so if you're a coffee drinker, you can imagine in the morning how good that smells and how warm it feels in your hands, and the steam on your face is just very, very comforting. It evokes a really powerful emotion, right? And so we just started to do this. We know all these things. We want to, if we make this much money, then we would be financially free. That was our whole dream. So I was still an engineer. I would drive to work, and I would look at that cup of coffee, and it said, imagine a stress-free day. And there was a cup of coffee with steam rising out of it. I would close my eyes, and the best I could, I would feel like that coffee cup in my hand. I would feel the warmth in my fingertips, and I would smell the coffee. I would feel the steam on my face. And I imagined myself sitting on the couch at 9 a.m. because that means I was free. I was financially independent. I didn't have to go to work. I'd imagine myself at 9 a.m. and look over at my wife and go, we're free, babe. What do you want to do today? And that's really all Bob Proctor and Think and Grow Rich, etc. And we just said, you know what? In 18 months, this is what it's going to look like. And guess what happened, Charlie? 18 months later, it's exactly what I did, picturing that goofy cup of coffee being free at 9 a.m. That's the journey where you teach people you're much more powerful than you think. There's two ways to do things. You can do it all with hard work. As Joe Dispenza would say, that's matter pushing matter. Or you can learn to create from energy. That's your mind and imagination and emotion.
Yeah. And that's even what we're trying to do with Goose, just have this holistic approach.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
Love that aspect.
Yeah, bro.
And by the way, I don't think you've seen it, but it is an actual print magazine.
I just got chills. I just actually got chills, bro. Like, that's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So that,
love print yet. I love it. I love a book in my hand, a magazine in my hand, because it's just more sensory input than your phone, right? Or
Mhm.
going, oh yeah, I do Audible and I download the Kindle. I'm like, guys, I'm telling you, there's something special about holding something.
Unplugging.
Yeah, you actually stimulate a lot more of your senses, and you're much more
Mhm.
powerful as a creator. That's why, as cool as everything is, I'd go get a $10 notebook and take a few minutes to share what you're grateful for and what your life is going to look like 5 years from now, and write it down, because your brain thinks if you go, I'm going to have X amount of money 5 years from now, your brain doesn't go, I apostrophe M going GOING this much money. Your brain thinks in pictures. So when you
Mhm.
write, you're actually formulating those pictures in your mind, and you're creating exactly what you're writing.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, we nailed it on timing. So thank you
All right, bro.
for sharing. Yes,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Hey, love you
And
guys on the show. Known Charlie for a long time. Love what he's doing. Love his heart as well. So exciting times ahead.
I appreciate you. Thanks, Mike.
See you, bro.